Hello and welcome. I am Stacey Thomas, author, ALS advocate, film producer, and talk show host. I'm here to motivate, educate, and entertain. Join me on YouTube every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Stacey Thomas Talk Show, where we have powerful discussions centered around health, relationship, careers, and everyday conversation. Follow me on Facebook, I am Stacey Thomas. On Instagram, Stacey Thomas Talk Show. And don't forget, I can promote you too. Email me at iamstaceythomas@gmail.com. Now, it's time for the show. Hey, everybody. This is I am Stacey Thomas, your host. And okay. You're going to say it. You already know. I'm blessed again. I'm blessed again to have another awesome guest. But before I bring my guest on, I've got to give a shout out to the sponsor of the show, DT Creations for You. CEO is Dana Theory. Let me tell you this. I love advertising for people that I know. I absolutely love it because I know as an individual that's doing the advertising, I am speaking the entire truth. I'm going to play this commercial. And if you're in the local area, the surrounding counties of Richmond, Virginia, I suggest you take up this free delivery, free setup, and free pickup. Okay. I'll be right back.
Isn't over yet. There's still time to plan that special event. Whether it's a birthday celebration, baby shower, family cookout, or just a reason to gather with friends and family. DT Creations for You rental services has you covered. We provide tents, tables, chairs, lighting, and tablecloths to help make sure your event is easy and stress-free. Let us do the work while you pick out the perfect outfit or warming up the grill. Call 804-503-1863 for more information or to reserve your rental package today. Once again, that's 804-503-1863. DT Creations for You rental services. You celebrate, we handle setup.
Okay, we're back. So tonight my guest is out of Virginia. Her name is Whitney L. Brooks. She's a mom, entrepreneur, 8-time best-selling author, right? In 2015, she transitioned to a full-time business ownership as co-founder of Patients for Patients LLC, a medical owned and operated non-medical home care agency that provides quality personal care and companionship services to the geriatric population. So I'll say this really quickly. I met her family by way of learning about this agency and when I first writing books. And ever since the day I met her mother, it's been blessing after blessing when you're talking to this family, hearing about all they do. So let's bring up the beautiful Whitney Brooks. Hello.
Hi, Stacey. How are you?
I am fine. I finally got you on the show. So thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Sweetheart, you wear so many hats.
Yes, I do.
And so many hats. And when people hear your story, they're going to wonder, how does she handle it all? I thought about how would I start this? I know what we're here to talk about, but I have a question for you. And then your answer, this is how we're going to, the start of this show is going to depend on your answer to the question. What's your it and what's your passion?
Wow. Honestly, my my passion has evolved over the years, if I'm being honest. Because when you are in a certain stage of life, you really think you have that thing down pat. And then as you continue to grow through life, right? Because life be life and you experience some things, you really rediscover exactly who you are. And I have discovered that my absolute joy and passion is helping women thrive in every capacity. And by helping them thrive, because they too have experienced life, by helping them share their stories, by helping them overcome whatever it is that they are experiencing so that they can share and inspire somebody else to overcome as well.
There we go. There we go. Get up and go, girl.
Okay. You got to.
It's girl get up. Why when I think about your group, I always want to say get up and go girl. I don't know why, but it's girl get up. I apologize.
That's funny.
Whitney,
Yes,
where did the name come and tell us about it?
absolutely. So in 2023, I began experiencing uh a lot of severe pain all throughout my body, right? And like you said when we started the show, I wear many hats, and so it was just a day where I felt like, okay, you're doing too much, you've been doing a whole lot, you just need to get a little rest because your body is telling you it's time to slow down. And don't get me wrong, I love doing all the things that I do. Everything I do is literally fueled by passion. So it's not things that I'm just doing just to keep busy. It's things that really bring me joy and purpose to my life. But even still, when you're fulfilling your purpose, rest has to be a part of the equation as well, right? That's a whole nother life, Stacey.
Right, right.
So long story short, because I know we have a limited time here tonight, but essentially that pain ultimately led to my diagnosis of lupus and rheumatoid arthritis in 2023. And so, of course, I threw myself a little pity party at first, right? Because at 32 years old, I felt like life was over for me. I couldn't believe that this was happening to me, right? And I came to the realization, I'm like, who are you? Why are you the exception that it couldn't happen to you?
Oh wow.
I had that talk with myself, like, who are you to think that it couldn't happen to you? And so, in the midst of me having my little pity party, one day I just told myself, girl, get up. You've been laying in this bed crying enough, right? The tears are not going to erase the diagnosis. You got to get up. Your son needs you. Your clients need you. You need you. Girl, get up. Get on about this bed and get back to it. And getting back to it obviously would not look exactly the way that it had in the past up until that point, but it did mean that I had to figure out what getting back to it actually would look like from here on out, right? And so that's how the Girl Get Up movement was born. But originally, I was just going to do a collaboration book because in experiencing my symptoms in just a short amount of time, right? Because I started the Girl Get Up movement just 4 months after my diagnosis. And so, in experiencing my symptoms in just a short amount of time, I said, you know what? I have been encountering women battling chronic illness pretty much my entire life. My mom has sickle cell disease. She was diagnosed in 1992 while in labor with my sister. And she has been getting up my entire life, right? And I have watched her go through many hard days and still never made an excuse for why she couldn't get it done, why she couldn't fulfill her purpose, why she couldn't still have joy. And so, not only my mom, I've encountered other women who have also battled chronic illness. And so, now that I was in that position, I said, you know what? These women don't get enough credit. These women do not get enough credit because life is already hard without a chronic illness on top of it, right? You got to do all the things, be a mom, be a business owner, go to work, go to church, take care of your husband if you got one. You know what I mean? Like you have to do all the things, and that's already exhausting. But then to tackle on chronic illness on top of that and still show up like a boss every single day, I said, oh no, these women are not getting enough credit, right? And so
Right?
I gotta figure out a way to shine a light on these women. I gotta figure out a way because that's just me too. Like you ain't gonna tell me that I got to have this thing and I can't do nothing with it. You know,
Your mother love you, baby.
I love you too, mama. So I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do with it. If it ain't going nowhere, this is what I'm going to do with it. And so I turned pain into purpose. And of course, originally, because I am a book publisher, because I am an author, I thought I'm going to do a collaboration book and invite other women to share their stories, not just of battling pain, but a book that encourages and inspires other women to get up, right? Because we can tell the sob stories all day about the pain that we experience, but it's how you turn that pain around is what really matters and inspires other people. And so I've done collaboration books before. So I knew that this one had to be more than just a collaboration book. It just had to. And that's how it turned from a collaboration book into an entire movement.
Wow. Your conference, I was blessed to be able to attend this year,
Thank you so much
right?
for coming.
Well, thank you for having me and allowing me to speak about ALS disease. But in talking to the women there, I have to say, I was very ignorant when it came to lupus.
Mm.
But what really had me in awe was everyone seemed to be different as far as the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
I met one woman in particular. It was one thing after the other, one thing after the other one, yet she was smiling.
Yes.
And then you had other women coming up to speak. They were going through something, and you never be able to look at someone sometimes and tell how much pain they're in.
Yes.
But for you, Whitney, this group is always a reminder of what you're going through. Does it ever take a toll on you? And how do you stand in front of so many women that follow you and find the courage to say, get up?
Mm. Well, I'm gonna be honest, Stacey, because I'm human, right? And I've even had conversations before with my mom and a trusted family friend, and I told them one time, I was having a really, really, really hard week, and that's the thing about chronic illness, right? Oftentimes, many of these chronic illnesses are deemed invisible, right? So a lot of people don't know the symptoms that you're experiencing, have no idea that you're battling a disability. And so I was having a really hard week, and I said, I feel like a hypocrite because I tell women every day to get up, and I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling to tell myself to get up when that's my entire mission, right? To get up. And I had to give myself grace in that week because these symptoms are beyond any of our control. And sometimes they are a little more than we're able to bear. Even though God tells us he'll never give us more than we can bear, we know that eventually we're going to come out on the other side. But when you're going through such a flare and you have no idea when it's going to end, more than you can bear, it's like, all right, Lord.
Right.
You said you won't give me more than I can bear, but are we there yet? Because this feels like more than I can bear right now. But conversely, and even in the same token as that, having this movement never becomes too much for me because it's a reminder that even though I have hard days, they could be worse. So even though I'm battling lupus, like you said, even though there were 3 of us who are battling lupus, it impacts us all differently, right? It impacts us all differently. And you heard Disha's story about how she was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis at age 6. And by age 10, she had to have a double hip replacement. And then she was later diagnosed with lupus, right? On top of that. And so when I look at her story, I'm like, at least you gave me a good 32 years, God. You know what I mean? It's like Disha had to experience pain since she was 6 years old. What do I have to complain about?
If she's the woman that sat at the table with me, I forget the names. She had a friend with her, and her friend told me about her. And you can't help but hurt for people,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Why is it that as a Black woman, where there's so many Black women at your conference that deals with lupus and not many people are talking about it?
That's a good question. That's a great question. Because prior to my diagnosis, I couldn't tell you a thing about lupus. I couldn't tell you, Stacey. I couldn't. And that's why I created the movement to educate our community, and not just on lupus. The Girl Get Up movement is not just for women who are battling lupus, it's for women battling all chronic illnesses, because we need to be educated on all chronic illnesses.
Right.
Okay, because 80% of people affected by autoimmune diseases are Black women. So we need to be educated on all chronic illnesses, not just lupus. So that's why the movement had to be all encompassing, because you have the Lupus Foundation, you have breast cancer, you have Sickle Cell Foundation, you have all of these organizations that cater to specific causes, and they're wonderful, right? They serve as great educational tools, they serve as great resources to connect people who are battling the same thing. But the Girl Get Up movement connects us all together as one. Whereas, yeah, you might have something different, but we may connect in a very similar way, right? And so that's the differentiator when it comes to the movement versus other organizations that support causes.
Wow. So I guess you're saying if there's a woman out there that's dealing with a whole different chronic illness and she needs a group to follow, or she wants to find a room where there are other women like her,
Mm-hmm.
she can follow you.
Absolutely. And we have an online Facebook community, the Girl Get Up community, where it is a private online space to share whatever you're experiencing, to connect with people locally. And I say locally because we're starting here, right? This
Right.
is our starting point, but this is not where we're going to end. The expansion is coming, trust me. We're going to have ambassadors in every state, okay? Mark my words. But of course, this is our home base, right? But that's why social media is so necessary, because we get to connect with people from all over, even if we can't connect in person as much right now.
Whitney Brooks, I got to tell you, you have such a powerful story, such a powerful drive to bless others while
Thank
dealing with your own thing, right? You and that big bright smile, Whitney. Ain't nobody is gonna think when they're talking to you that you've got the story that you have.
you.
And before we transition to the other hat that you're wearing, for
Yes.
women out there stuck that need someone to, there's no one to tell them to get up.
Mm-hmm.
If they're watching, if they're laying in bed, if they're sitting on the sofa and they're depressed and they're watching this, what do you want to say to them?
I would like to tell that woman that remember who you were before the diagnosis. Remember who you were before the diagnosis, because you're still her. A different version, perhaps, but you're still her. Don't ever get it twisted. So you got to stand up and still walk boldly, still shine brightly, and the woman that you know that you are. The diagnosis doesn't change a thing. All right. It might slow you down just a little bit, but you still look good, even when you don't feel that way. You're still beautiful, even when you don't feel you look that way, right? You're still smart, still brilliant. You're still her. So at some point, when the diagnosis gets into our heads, right, like it is in
Right,
our body, we
right.
have to be able to take a moment and reframe, because the biggest thing that is associated when you get a diagnosis is grieving yourself. And you know how hard it is when you grieve a loved one. Can you imagine grieving yourself? And so the biggest advice that I would say is grieve her for sure, but then step into the woman that you're becoming, because you still owe yourself that.
Thank you. I wish my mother would have had words like that.
Hmm.
There are women that I know that are on my page, and I hope they're watching this, because even if I don't know exactly how they feel, people need people like you. Thank you. And we're gonna take a break and for a commercial.
Summer isn't over yet. There's still time to plan that special event. Whether it's a birthday celebration, baby shower, family cookout, or just a reason to gather with friends and family. DT Creations for You Rental Services has you covered. We provide tents, tables, chairs, lighting, and tablecloths to help make sure your event is easy and stress free. Let us do the work while you pick out the perfect outfit or warming up the grill. Call 804 503 1863 for more information or to reserve your rental package today. Once again, that's 804 503 1863. DT Creations for You Rental Services. You celebrate, we handle setup.
I think you're on mute, Stacy.
We're back, beautiful. I don't mean to get emotional.
Oh, that's all right.
I love when I know that there are others that care about people. And I love when I meet someone that's already going through their own mess, yet they're still blessing others. So, the other hat, we got patience for patience. We've got the girl get up. I first heard about you over at Club CEO,
Mm-hmm.
Sharon Oliver, right?
Yes.
Still, I knew you were doing big things, but I still had no idea that you were doing what you're doing, okay? Because I'm not one of those people. I'll listen, but I'm not going to get in anybody's business. Like, well, tell me more about her, blah blah blah. But you sounded interesting then, right? So you started out editing.
I did. I did. So Sharon Oliver was actually the very first person to give me an opportunity to edit. So I'll be forever grateful for that.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, I know we're in a space now where so many people are doing books and publishing and all the things, but honestly, I didn't ever see myself getting into publishing. I didn't even ever see myself becoming an author. I have a full degree in English with a
Right.
minor in creative writing. So my undergraduate degree is in English. I minor in creative writing, and so I love words. I always have, and so I just wanted to edit. I just wanted to edit, and so it was about a year after my mom and I had started the home care agency, and I wanted to still explore my own passions. I was new to entrepreneurship, and I had gotten my feet wet. It had been a whole year, and I said, well, the home care is my mom's passion, and we were doing good with getting this business going, but I still wanted to be able to explore my own passions as well. And so I spoke to a friend of mine, and I said, I really want to edit. My degree is in English, and so I'm looking for some opportunities. And she said, I know someone who's looking for an editor, and she connected me to Sharon, and I told Sharon. And so this is a tip for any aspiring business owners on here. So lock in right here, okay? I told Sharon, I met with her, and she didn't know me from a can of paint, right? But I came by way of a trusted referral. And I said, yes, I'm looking to get into editing. It's just something I love to do. And she said, okay, well, do you have any experience? I said, no, but I'm the best. And I said, I'm willing to prove that to you by offering my services for free.
Really?
I did. I said, I'm willing to prove that to you by offering my services for free. And I put this in my first book as well, my very first book that I published in 2021, that teaches aspiring women entrepreneurs how to start and grow a successful business. And so my reason for doing that is because I didn't have any experience. I know my skill sets, but I didn't have any experience. And I knew that by proving my skill sets, that would give me the experience, which would lead to paid opportunities, right?
Right.
And so ultimately, Sharon did ultimately hire me for her magazine as a full-time editor, and that kind of gave me the confidence that I needed to pursue other editing opportunities. And so I went full force with my freelance editing business. And then Sure enough, I began editing for first time authors, right? And so this is where the transition happened. All of my clients have the same exact challenge. After I had perfected their manuscripts, they would say, "Oh my gosh, I love the edits," because I'm not just going to put a period here and a comma there. I do full developmental editing. I'm going to say, "This, you need to scratch that. That doesn't make sense. Let's switch this around a little bit." I elaborate and fill in the gaps for my authors. I'm doing it all. I'm doing the things. This is what I love to do. It comes naturally for me. And sometimes I can't even help myself, right? And so after I had perfected their manuscripts, they would say, "Oh my gosh, I love it. It's great. Now, how do I get it published?" And I would say, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just your editor. You're going to have to find somebody who publishes. That's not my
Okay.
lane. I did my part, right?"
Okay.
So it got to a point where I became just as frustrated as my clients because I'm like, why don't any of these people know how to publish their books? And not
Right.
only that, my clients had developed such a huge level of trust in me that I began to feel a sense of responsibility to help them figure it out. And so ultimately, that's how I got into publishing. I literally just wanted to cater to my clients in a higher capacity. I
And
felt like the Lord was telling me, like, this is your calling. This is what I'm telling you to do. That's why they keep asking you.
there was Empower Her Publishing born.
And there she was. And so, of course, I was my first client. And I published that book in November 2021. And of course, I didn't just, whoop de doo, let me publish, right? So, of course, it was research, research, research. And I felt like I had that thing down pat. But of course, I invested, in some training with an
Right.
expert to make sure that all my I's were dotted and my T's were crossed. And sure enough, that investment just confirmed the research that I had done. Nevertheless, I was grateful for it. And so again, I published my book. And then once I released it, I wanted to help other women publish their books too. And so Empower Her Publishing has been going full force for almost 5 years now. Because again, first book published in 2021 of November, and we're coming up on November now. So it's been 5 years. And let me tell you, Stacey, because I just had this conversation yesterday. I said, I don't post a lot on social media.
Right.
I tell people all the time, promote your business, tell your story, blah, 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 blah. But I don't post a lot on social media. And you know what? I don't have to, because all my clients have literally come to me by way of referral.
Wow. That's good
Every-
business. That's
And
good business.
it is. And I'm grateful for that, because that means that my work speaks for itself.
Right. And my last question is, you work specifically with women, right?
I do.
I get your passion. I get your it. What is it that is so important to you about women that those are the stories you want to share?
Absolutely. Well, of course, Stacey, have been, I'm not even say word, women have been at the bottom of the totem pole for so long, for so long, particularly Black women, right?
Right.
And I just feel like it's my personal mission to keep helping them climb the ladder, particularly women entrepreneurs, particularly ambitious women, particularly women who just want to do more and just need a little help getting there. I even had a business coaching consulting firm at one point, and it was for women. Women, millennial women who wanted to start and grow successful businesses so they could stay at home with their babies, because society tells us that we have to choose one or the other, being a successful woman or being a stay-at-home mom. I did both. I stayed at home with my baby while building and growing my business. And so I wanted to show other women, particularly women my age, that you don't have to choose. If you want to stay home and take care of your baby and be a successful business owner, you can do that. And this is how.
Look at you, got your cup full of black magic. Look at you.
And listen, and it stays full because I always pour. And I pour that black magic every time I get a chance. And that's why it's always poured back into me. And I'm grateful for that.
Whitney Brooks, it has been awesome. We'll have to do this again one day to talk about
Absolutely.
rest. How do people follow you, connect with you, and give us some words you want to leave us with?
Absolutely. Well, of course, you can reach me online. My website is empowerherpublishing.com. Follow me on Facebook at Whitney L. Brooks. I am Whitney B on Instagram. I love to connect with you on either or all platforms. And listen, before I leave tonight, I just want to say remember your purpose. Everyone has one, and walk boldly in it.
Thank you for my session tonight. No.
You're quite welcome anytime, Stacy. Thank you for
Have a
having
good
me.
one, beautiful. Bye bye. Hey, 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 that was great, right? And if you didn't get to watch the full interview, I will post for you so you can listen to it on iHeartRadio or go over to YouTube. Okay, follow her, ladies. Follow her. And as always, I like to say thank you for watching. Don't stress too much about yesterday. Let's not worry too much about tomorrow because if we do, we just might miss living today. Good night, everyone.